Pilgrims, and welcome to another episode of the Polygon Pilgrimage. And today, continuing our discussion about texel density, I just wanted to share with you some information that I got and show you an example of it working in more of a scene setup. So this is some client work that I've been doing and kind of a retro 80s style, early 90s look to it, and it's a little cartoonish. And so, but anyway, I'm making sure that even on a cartoonish project, doesn't matter if it's not hyper-realism, that we are having complete texel density across the whole project. So for this one, as I may have mentioned last time, we're going for 84 pixels is our texel density setting. And what I've got going on here is this whole room so far is all set up with it. And I want to show you, here I am in the RAM player inside of Max. I can actually switch between two channels. So here it is with just a flat rendering, and then I'll bring in the UVs. And you can see as I bring the UVs in, it looks like the entire world has been covered in this really ugly wallpaper. It kind of reminds me of the Matrix, you know, just it's complete and everything. The walls, the monitors, the phone, the papers on the desk, everything is at the exact same scale. So you can see here, see now a little bit more practically, if I were to write something on one of these papers, I could move that to the phone, to the desk, to the monitor screen, and it would look exactly the same on all surfaces, even on the wall, the floor, everything. So that complete consistency across the entire scene, across every object. And you can't really see, but there are some papers on the desk here. That's why there's a little bit of a weird sideways going on here. But yeah, it just goes across the entire room, the entire scene, the whole world. And that way everything is consistent and you have this nice crisp look to everything, and nothing has that odd out of place, it's too big or too small, or it's a little too sharp all of a sudden. Now in some instances you may run into a situation where you have to double the resolution, or maybe even quadruple, or cut it in half, and that would be for things like the phone. In this instance, we do have to be able to see the digits, and we do have to be able to see the screens pretty well, so I might double that, but that keeps in the same aspect ratio though. So I'm making sure that I know that that's double, so I know that my texture is going to be twice as big, but I need to make sure that it's half as large on the texture sheet. So then what I end up with is the same consistent resolution across. I know that that will be double because I need to have more fidelity there. But for the most part, everything is at the exact same resolution all the way across the board, and then you make adjustments to the scale of your texturing. So for example, I might not have tiny little screws in the casing here, specifically because this is a more cartoonish example, but I might not have those tiny little screws because at this resolution you wouldn't be able to see them at all. So I'd have to make a change for that, or say if I really need to see those screws for some reason, like if it's a gameplay element that you have to unscrew this and pull it off, then we would have to up the resolution for that or make some adjustments there. But this helps to keep the whole world uniform, and that way your game just has a nice, much more crisp look to it. Because if you think about it, you know, our world is in super high def all the time, and nothing looks under-resed, right? So that's what we're trying to achieve, is make sure that everything has the same uniform basis, and then everything blends together well, it all looks like it belongs, and nothing stands out as being odd. That's the big problem, is when things stand out as looking odd, then they draw too much attention to themselves, and when they draw too much attention to themselves, then it breaks the immersion, and that's what we want to avoid. That we want the immersion to continue. Okay, so on the screen I'm going to put up a quote from the Rainbow Six Siege game that a friend of mine was able to source for me. It says here that on Siege we opted for 512 pixels per meter resolution across all surfaces, which equates to 1 pixel of detail per 2 centimeters. So this was sourced a friend of mine by the name of Paul, and I have put his portfolio link in the description. You should check it out. Paul is amazing. He actually worked on some of my favorite Lego games, which is awesome. So yeah, check out his portfolio, guys. I really appreciate and thank him for finding this information for me, and that's a good measuring stick for us to look at and say, what kind of a resolution are you doing depends on, you know, the kind of project you have. If you're going for hyper realism, you're going to need more detail. If you're going for more of this project I'm working on here for this client is more of like a Wind Waker kind of style to it, so everything's going to be a little cartoonish. So, you know, I might be able to get away with some things, making things a little bit lower resolution. So take that into effect when you're working on your project. Make sure that you understand your total project parameters before you begin, and then you can make smart decisions down the road. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I'm always learning more about this, trying to, hone and perfect our skills. That's what we do. So as always, keep practicing, get better, and I'll see you next time as the pilgrimage continues.